be what he said too. They say wait till early in the morning. Everybody ready?
Me too.
So, how's the law firm?
Everybody ready? Come along, we're getting a new roof on the building.
Okay. City. Wrap them all.
Oh, no, I was wrong. I thought that was later. Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 6:30 p.m., November 16th, 2017. And at this time, I will call the City Commission meeting to order. And we're going to ask for an invocation from Commissioner Evans. And we want to follow that with our Pledge of Allegiance.
Read the agenda a little closer. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together here tonight to govern the city of High Springs and for the changeover that we're going to have tonight. We just ask that you watch over the leaders for the city of High Springs for the coming year. We ask that you make them have wise decisions, make the city a better community, and we ask that you watch over everybody here assembled. We ask this all in thy holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Palmer, may we have roll call, please?
Ma'am. Mayor James,
Here.
Vice Mayor Evans,
Here.
Commissioner Jameson,
Here.
Commissioner Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I will entertain a motion for the agenda. But I would like to add one item at the very bottom, and that will be comments from Commissioner Evans and myself. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Ain't happening. We're not giving him a forum to speak.
That's right. It's the last time. From now on, you can have a button.
Okay.
You can tell me to stop.
But Mayor, we need to adjourn first.
Yes.
Not yet.
No. We have to wait.
I'll make a
Not
motion.
yet.
I'll make a
On
motion.
second.
All right, it has been properly moved and second that the agenda be approved as amended. All those in favor, aye, please.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. Agenda is approved. All right, next we have approval of minutes for October 12th, 2017. Motion?
Make a motion to approve the October 12th meeting.
Second.
All right, it has been properly moved and second that the minutes from October 12th, 2017 be approved as printed. All those in favor respond with aye, please.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Minutes are approved. All right, at this time we will have comments from Commissioner Evans.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to say I kind of said some at the last meeting, but I just like to think that, we have a good staff here at City, from the city manager, our city attorneys, our city clerk, the top office, the bottom office, everybody. Everybody has their own quirks and this from that and time to time, but our staff by and large, they want to do a good job. They want to help the citizens out when they can. I know we, like every other city, we have our issues and there's troubles, and when your water's not working, you're mad and you're upset, and some people you can't please. But the staff that we have here, by and large, everybody wants to do a good job. Everybody wants to help out their fellow citizens. And you don't find that everywhere. There's a lot of cities. I've visited some, you hear stories at League of City meetings. There's some that are like horror stories. And we don't have that here. Yes, we have our issues, but we're slowly and surely knocking away at it, taking them one by one. And like I said last meeting, I'd like to have enough money in the budget where we could fix all of our water and all of our sewer problems overnight, but that's not feasible. Nobody's going to be able to get that done. But with the staff we have here now and the direction we're going, it's going to happen. It's just going to take time. I really do think we have a great staff here, and I also think that we have my fellow commissioners. I don't think you could ask for a better board. They all listen. They all appreciate other people's opinions and viewpoints. And we didn't always agree on everything, but we could always talk it out. And however it came out is how it came out. There wasn't any hard feelings. And you don't have that in every city. And I would honestly just like to thank everybody for making this experience great. I got to meet a lot of new people that I probably would have never met if I hadn't ran. And it was just a great time in my life, and I appreciate all of y'all being a part of it, and I appreciate everybody putting up with me. To the incoming commissioner, the commissioner-elect, Linkus, I'd just like to say, I don't know you well, but last meeting when you came up and made your comments and you'd actually mentioned that you'd went out to the water plant, you researched what you were talking about, and you weren't just saying something that came to your mind and seeing if it stuck on the wall. You actually wanted to find out the real issues and the real truth. I appreciate that, and I think that will go well with everybody else up here, and I just encourage you to keep doing things like that. I'd also like to say, when I first got sworn in, which seems not that long ago, that, I thought I'd get up here and we'd be doing things right after, left after right and just keep going. City government takes time. So don't get discouraged. If you're up here doing your job and keep doing things like that, it'll go well, and it'll be a good addition to this board. If I left anybody out or skipped over anybody, it's nothing personal. Honestly, do like everybody here. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to serve the city of High Springs for 3 years.
Would either of the commissioners, please?
What? No.
Well, I would.
Okay.
I would like to say to you, thank you for being my sidekick right here next to you. All right. He and I started out on this journey together. Neither one of us knew what we were doing at the time, but we said, okay, let's give it a try. So we both started out together, as I said, back in 2014, and we're still here. And as part of this panel, I think we all did our fair share. We did what was right, what we thought was right, and I think it worked out pretty good for us. There were times when we'd be sitting trying to figure out one thing, and Jason would come out with one of his remarks, and then we all have to stop and think, here is Jason. He's here. That's Jason. But it's been a pleasure working with you, and I know the endeavors that you're going into next, you'll do just as well as you did here with us, and I'm going to miss you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, at that point, if there are no other comments, I will adjourn the 2016-17 City Commission.
Yes, ma'am. And if you'll pass the gavel. It's the only time I get it.
I'm going to cry.
Once a year, man.
I know. And I have a plaque to give, and I do this with reservations. Truly, when Gloria started as the mayor, I had a little bit of reservations, but, right off the bat, she spoke well, took care of problems very well, and was really a partner. And really, in all the other plethora of other mayors I've ever had, she has been the only one that really has been a partner and that has made the running of this city so much easier. Gloria, I give this to you, but I don't want to, and hopefully someday I won't have to, and you'll come back as the mayor.
You sure you want me to do that?
Oh, yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Well, I thank you.
You bet.
I thank you
You
for
bet.
the plaque as well as the comments. And as I said, I have tried to do what I thought was the best on behalf of the city of High Springs. Otherwise, I would not be here. Thanks to all of you.
I get to use the gavel for my only time, and I would like to call to order the 2017, No, I'm sorry. We have to do the oath of office.
Yes.
I'm sorry, see, I'm pushing along.
Take that thing away from me.
Administer the oath to
Yeah.
Gloria James. Okay, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Gloria James,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, honor, protect, and defend the Constitution
that I will support, honor, protect, and defend the Constitution
and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state
and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
I can do it.
Same old face. Same old face.
Thank you. You just sit where you were sitting, and then we'll arrange later.
All right.
Now, Commissioner-elect Lincoln,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
if you'll raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Nancy Lavin Linkus,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, honor, protect, and defend the Constitution
that I will support, honor, protect, and defend the Constitution
and the government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
and the government of the United States and the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state
and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God. Thank you.
Now it is my pleasure to call to order the 2017-2018 City Commission, and I will call the roll call. And Nancy, if you'll... Nancy Linkus.
Here.
Gloria James.
Here.
Brian Williams.
Here.
Scott Jameson.
Here.
And Linda Jones.
Here.
All right. We are all here.
Oh, yeah.
And ma'am, if you would make some comments.
Oh, thank you for allowing me to serve the city in this capacity. I will do my very best to represent all the citizens. Thank you.
I would now like to take a nomination to elect the mayor from the commission.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Jameson.
Second. If I need a second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
It is done.
All right.
Now, sir, I will pass the gavel. I think we need to change chairs.
Switch with it.
Take care of this now.
That's your drink?
Yeah. I'm not gonna bring the chair this time.
This chair's too big. All right, here we go.
All right.
Here we go.
At this point in time, what's it say here? We're going to second nominations to elect the vice mayor. Any nominations for the vice mayor, please?
I nominate Miss Linda Jones.
Second.
So I've got a first and a second for Linda Jones for Vice Mayor. Any comments? Good to go? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. Linda Jones is now the Vice Mayor.
Good question. I don't know.
Do you want Linda to move? Yes.
Yeah. And then you'll move down to.
Okay.
This happened to me last year.
Want your president?
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you. So let's go down.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Very good.
At this point in time, we'll take any citizens' requests or comments for issues not on the agenda. Please state your name for the record. You have 5 minutes. If anyone would like to step forward and make a comment, this would be the time to do so.
Yeah.
Seeing none, we'll close that. We'll move on to new business. Whoa. You gotta be faster. We'll open it back.
It just takes me a little
There you
longer
go.
nowadays.
Yes, ma'am.
Susie Clark, I live here in the city, and I would like to let everybody know that we have either a fairy godmother or a poltergeist or something like that. Last night at the Parks and Recreation meeting, I mentioned the fact that there has been a very dirty baby diaper that was tucked under the fence in the back sports complex park that's been there for months and months. Well, I mentioned it again last night, and guess what? At 8 o'clock this morning, it was gone. But the cones that were on the bales of sod
Yes.
were still there, pointing to where I had set them so that we could see them. And the other thing is, this is a slight commercial, but let's not forget that this weekend is our big sale at the Women's Club, our holiday fest, and we just have 2 words: buy homemade, give homemade. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Anyone else? I don't want to be too quick now. All right, we'll close it. New business number 1 at this point, we will appoint a chair and vice chair to the CRA board. Do I have any nominations for the CRA board chair?
I nominate Nancy Linkus as CRA chair.
Second.
I have a first and a second for Nancy Linkus.
Nancy Lucas.
For CRA chair. Comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, nay? Hearing none, it's passed 5-0. Congratulations.
I feel like I was out of the room.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I've been there.
You did to her last year, so she's doing it to you.
Yeah, she's passing it down.
Well, Jason did it to me.
Okay.
To follow that up, nomination for the CRA board vice chair.
I nominate Miss Gloria James.
I'll second that.
So I have a first and a second for the vice chair, Gloria James. Any comments? Seeing none, hearing none. All in favor, Gloria James for vice chair of CRA board. Aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Nay. Hearing none, it's 5-0 for Gloria James for the vice chair. Moving on to item number 2, we need to appoint and reappoint members to various city boards and committees. Ms. Johnson.
Mr. Mayor, one of the items before you for the appointment to various city boards and committees, I just wanted to clarify. Earlier this year, we had gone to a special magistrate system for code enforcement, but what we had elected to do was to leave open the possibility in the future that the city could revert back to a code enforcement board. And so we received applications for the code enforcement board, but it's staff's recommendation that we don't actually need to outfit a code enforcement board because we will be using a special magistrate at this time. And so staff's recommendation is that you not appoint anyone to that board, but that staff could reach out to those applicants and see if they might be interested in spots on our vacant plan board.
Understood.
And Mr. Mayor, there is one application or one individual I'd like to see appointed to the Northeast Central Regional Planning Group. They meet at the same time we do, and we haven't had representation there, although we've been members now for about 8 years. Bill Whitlock, who is our building official, is willing to do it and doesn't meet with us. So he could meet with them on a monthly basis, or actually every other month.
What position is that again?
It is the North Central Regional Planning Group. And we're members, we've been members with them for 10 years.
They meet in Lake City.
And they meet in Lake City.
Well, I would agree we need somebody, and I think having him there, I think, would be advantageous.
I agree.
Being a code enforcer.
I think that's an excellent idea because we need to have someone that has expertise in that area, and he does.
So I have a motion to make that appointment.
Yes, I will make such a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second to appoint, which is, give me the last, I apologize. Bill Whitlock to the North Central Regional Planning Group. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Booth.
Yes, sir.
Jenny, how would you propose we go through these on take each individual?
Well, we start with each board.
Okay, just go with each individual one? Okay. So we have 2 openings?
Yes, sir, and Mr. Manley did advise that he would not.
Okay. So Ron Wilson is reapplying.
Yes.
So we would have 1 opening, Sonia Wilson and Michelle Leonard as the 2 applicants?
Does this board have an alternate position, Jenny? Do we have an alternate? No. Okay.
So do we need to reappoint Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
So since Mr. Wilson is reappointing, do I have a motion to put Mr. Wilson to continue?
Yes, I make a motion that Mr. Wilson be reappointed to the planning board.
I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second to reappoint Mr. Wilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. We have an opening. We have a Sonia Wilson and a Michelle Leonard for the 1 open position. Comments or whatever?
I think both of these citizens would make great board members looking at the applications. It appears that Miss Sonia Wilson has been in High Springs for 19 years and Miss Michelle Leonard's been here just 3.5. And it looks like Sonia applied back in July. So I would be inclined to maybe nominate Sonia at this time and ask Michelle to be a backup if we got in a position where we needed someone to step in.
And I'll make a second for Sonia.
You're in agreement? You got a second on that? Any other comments before we? So we have a motion for Sonia Wilson to fill the vacant spot in the planning board. I have a motion and a second. Any other comments? Any comments from the audience at all? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, Sonia Wilson will fill the 5th position on the planning board. Now with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. We have Susie Clark is expiring, but Susie has applied to stay on. So I would have a motion if somebody is for Susie Clark for the Parks and Recreation Board.
So moved.
Second.
I have a first and a second for Susie Clark. Any comments? All in favor of Susie Clark to remain on the Parks and Recreation Board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. You're a lucky individual. And we thank you very much, obviously. We appreciate it. At this point in time, we have Daniel Wise, who was an alternate, and we have he's going on, and he would like to be on it. We have an opening for Richard Doherty. So the thing here would be to move the alternate and have him fill the full-time position, and then Christina Young would be the alternate, in waiting. So
We have an application in here too for Michael Holder.
oh, it's okay. It's not listed.
It's not on the front sheet, but there is an application for him in the packet.
Okay.
If we move Daniel up to the other slot of the active board, then could we move Michael into the alternate spot?
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to do that.
Okay, so I have a motion for Mr. Wise to move from alternate to a current member. Can I do those together? And Michael Holder then would assume the alternate position. I have a motion for that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Hearing a person is second. Any comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Daniel Wise will assume the current member's position, and Michael Holder will become the alternate. Thank you very much, and I appreciate everybody for their time who does this. It's sort of like a thankless job, but it's one that has to be done. So we thank those who are accepting this appointment. Item number 3. Say what? Oh, is it on the back?
No, it's the second one.
I apologize. No, we're not doing the codes enforcement.
Oh, we're not, okay.
No, that was tabled.
Sorry.
You're good. At this point in time, new business number 3 is to authorize the following personnel to sign checks. Jenny, is that just, we just need to vote on to sign checks and so forth to the mayor, vice mayor, city manager, city clerk?
Yes.
And this is a routine annual type deal with these type of deal, right? Comments or, I hear a motion to do that?
I make a motion that the mayor, the vice mayor, the manager, and the city clerk be approved for check signature.
You have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second to approve the mayor, the vice mayor, city manager, city clerk to authorize to sign checks and investment documents. Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Item number 4, consider request by Olin Barber to extend the use of the Civic Center without charge through 2018. Mr. Barber's here if you'd like to say something, sir.
All right.
Yeah, we've had a really good run. We've had a good time. We've had 3 years now. And I don't know of any complaints that none has been filed. Come to me anyway. I don't know about the city.
None, and staff has no objection.
We're getting a little bit better crowds all the time. More people are coming in, and it's just going real good.
Yes, sir.
And we just like to continue it as long as we're able to keep going with it.
Sir, there is one caveat. Per the commission approving the wild spaces, we will be renovating the Civic Center, probably starting in about 2 months, and that will last about 6 weeks.
Okay.
We're going to do the ceiling, floor, paint the entire building, and redo the kitchen.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
And we could use the vacation. Maybe we could use the school again like we did during the storm. That'd be all right to
Yes, sir.
just switch it to school? Okay.
Absolutely.
Just make sure you get with them so you've got the date so you can adequately advertise so your people know where to move to.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We appreciate you.
Comments or suggestions?
I make a motion to extend the use of the Civic Center without charge through 2018 for Mr. Olin Barber.
A second.
Any comments? Did you want to say anything?
No, I was going to make a motion. I think it's wonderful they're using the...
All right, I have a motion and a second to extend the use to Mr. Barber's group. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Barber.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, sir. Item number 5, consider ordinance 2017-11. Mr. Walker.
Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and read the ordinance by title only, and that'll place the matter on the floor upon a motion and second. This is ordinance number 2017-11, an ordinance amending the adopted 2016-2017 fiscal year budget for the City of High Springs and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance 2017-11 upon its first reading by title only.
Comments? Questions?
I make a motion that we approve the City of High Springs, the budget, on the budget.
Number 5.
Okay, on the budget, yeah. Ordinance 2017-11.
Second.
I'd like to, before we do, I'd just like clarification on something on the deal. Transfer, this has been off an issue, money transferred from general fund to the sewer to help do it. Has that changed?
Yes. For this year, which really is ended on 9/30, we had about, I believe it was 89,000, 87,000, or excuse me, 82,927. This year that we're in right now, 0. We are transferring no money from the general fund to the sewer.
Last year?
Last year was 82.9, and the prior it was like 150, 175, I believe.
So 2 years we've gone from the general fund 150 something down to 0 transfer.
Correct. Yes. And our revenues on the sewer went up 50,000 this last year. So as we're putting more and more people in the sewer, and this year that we're in right now, we have Camp Kalakwa, the new neighborhood, and the grinder pump, all grants that will put quite a few more people on there.
Right.
So when
we'll be over the top.
So when we talk about doing it, is it, the sewer fund obviously is in the red. So that's the one. Is there any other department? I mean, I know the answer, but that's the other one.
No other fund is in the red, just the sewer fund.
Okay.
And we've known that. It's been in the red now for 15 years. This is the first year. We ought to, when we come out of the red, we ought to pop champagne and without alcohol.
Right.
We're getting any comments from any citizens on this? I'd like to commend the staff before we take the vote. I'd like to commend the staff, Mr. Booth, on balancing the budget. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. We're also putting $75,000 a year. We started this last year, putting it aside for emergency time on top of the contingency, which is over. So we're getting there, and we appreciate your all's patience. So I have a motion and a second to ordinance 2017-11. No other comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Excuse me.
That's right.
Thank you.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Mayor Jameson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Lincoln?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item number 6 will be consider resolution 2017Q, and that's setting the monthly salary. Mr. Walker.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution setting the monthly salary for the office of the city commissioners and the mayor, providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass resolution 2017-Q upon its reading by title only.
And those would be the same as they were last year. It's $800 for commissioners, $850 for the mayor.
It does, but that's still lower than any other city in the area. Our recommendation from staff is you raise it $100 for the commissioners, $150 for the mayor. And that still keeps you well below any other city in the area.
No, it's yeah, I'm used to sitting over there where I get to talk first.
Now you talk last.
So I got to talk last now. So, any comments?
No. But budget-wise, can we?
Absolutely. What you just heard is that because the sewer fund is becoming self-sufficient, we're not taking the money out of the general fund any longer, and that we'll have, and actually it'll be a lot more, I guess, satisfying being a commissioner that you can look at doing things that you could not in the past. And one of those things, I think, is that you should give yourself a small raise. You're not going to get rich on $100 a month.
Well, I mean, I'll say something. I greatly appreciate it. And I think where it was 500 when I got on here, and I know it used to be 1,000 years ago.
It was.
I think the time will present itself when we can get to the point that I think that you can make this position to where it's a viable type of deal, if you stay with me, from an economic standpoint, to where people aren't offering their time up and not being duly compensated. I'm not there yet, me personally. I would not vote for I would not be for the raise at this point in time. I think it's coming. I'd like to see the sewer become self-sufficient. Mr. Booth is working on many other projects. I'd like to see us get those taken care of. Maybe next year, I think we'll be there. I would not be in favor, me personally, for it this year, maybe next year.
I'm going to make a motion to approve it with the current salary, the $800 for the commission and the $850 for the mayor. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as it stands.
I have a motion to keep it as is. Is there a second? Hearing none, we'll open back up for... I mean, I guess I can second, can't I?
What?
Can I second?
No, you can't.
Pass the gavel.
No.
You gotta pass the gavel.
No, I don't want to do it. I didn't get a second, so I mean, I don't want to be on the deal. So I mean, obviously it would be. So I want to hear whatever.
So we back up
I want to hear what
comments?
somebody else has to say.
Well, I'm not so much looking for perhaps the commissioners, but I thought $50 for the mayor was always a little much less than it should have been. So I am going to make a motion that we pass the ordinance for the monthly salary for office of city commissioners at $900 and the mayor at $1,000. Is that it? $150 for him.
With the assurance that we have from the city manager that it's not going to pose any problem for us financially, I'll second.
Yes, ma'am, it will not cause you any problem.
All right, then I'll second.
Comments? So I have a motion to adjust the pay for commissioners from $800 to $900, and the mayor from $850 to $1,000. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
Nay? No. Passes 3-2. Yeah, I'll get that ordinance thing down. I'll get it down. You got to give me an eye shot here so I see it ahead of time.
So before we make the vote,
Yeah.
I'm kind of reluctant here. What's her name?
Jennifer.
Mr. Booth, now, are you sure there will be no hardship?
Yep, that's why I asked.
There will be no hardship.
I want to hear from City Financial Director.
I'm just going to make one comment. It's not currently in the budget.
Right.
Okay. And see, that was one of the problems I was having. It's not in the budget, because I was thinking maybe next year's budget, then can we bring this back?
No, you can only bring it back this one time. It's at this time when we have the election.
Budget.
You can't bring that up in the budget workshops when you have the budget workshops and preceding your budget next year?
You could, but you have to vote on it at this time.
You can amend your budget. This is one thing that you can do. And it's a minimal impact. I'm an attorney saying it's minimal. That's a finance director.
I know, but you're right. It is really a minimum impact.
What?
Sir, you can change it. I need you to come up if you wouldn't mind, please. Go ahead. Okay. No, I heard you, but I just want to make sure other people. Thank you.
Clear up something?
Yes.
We usually pass the resolution during the budget, right around that time. If that's why the charter calls for us to adopt the plan. That's why we're making the adopt the plan. We didn't change it. Budget. This is
Agreed.
Okay.
So we're ready to vote?
Well,
Was it-
what do we have?
We had a
900?
motion and a second.
900 and 1,000? And this is a roll call?
Mayor Jameson,
No.
Vice Mayor Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Lincoln,
No.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2. And this will be reflected then when we come back for the second reading on this.
it's on one.
It's only one?
Yeah, that
Okay.
has to be done and then for the new budget.
Okay.
What you have sent it earlier is last.
I got you. Okay. All right. Thank you. Item number 7, consider resolution 2017R. Mr. Walker.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, determining and declaring certain real property as surplus located in the City of High Springs, Florida, and authorizing the city manager to dispose of said property in accordance with the city's real property policy and/or affordable housing policy, repealing all resolutions in conflict, and establishing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass Resolution 2017-R upon its reading by title only.
I would like to say something here. I spoke with Mr. Booth yesterday. These are properties we're getting back by tax deed, that the taxes weren't paid. They're coming to the city. I have a strong opinion that we should take a substantial part of whatever we get from these sales and create grants to that community, that neighborhood where they're coming from, for people to do repairs or facade like we're doing in the CRA. We have neighborhoods in this community that need revitalization, and the people don't have funds. And I think that this money could be a vehicle for us to revitalize some of those neighborhoods. And if we put it back into the neighborhood where it's coming from, I think it could make a substantial difference.
What I'd like to do is that we went out for bids for the property, which was $17,000 for the one house, and we had no bids. I would like permission then to go back out for $10,000 and then sell it. What we don't want to do is keep it in the city and then have to pay the taxes on it. I mean, we're not landlords, so. And I think I have a buyer that is willing to pay $10,000 for it.
Is this the property on 12th, up on 12th?
That's the property, and there is somebody living in there. And to be honest with you, we really don't want to move her out. So really, under affordable housing, we would like to do that. The other house we haven't put up, we received it, but it has not been put up for that we need to sell it, and we haven't authorized that yet.
So are these, when we're doing number 7 here, these are addressing the parcels that are on item number 12, correct? Consider bids for surplus property. We're declaring this one now as surplus.
That is true.
Procedurally, we're preparing it, so therefore the other one we can, now we're in sync. Okay, I just want to make sure from a procedural standpoint. I think we have we would have two issues here. One is we want to pass the ordinance to make this surplus property. So that's one thing. And then I think the second thing is, Mr. Walker, is I would ask regarding Ms. Linkis's request, is that something you could get back? Because I'm assuming we would have to set something up to put that money in a type of escrow type of thing to do it. So
we'd have to set up a program and how we would establish the grant procedures and make sure that we do it in an equitable way, all that sort of thing. We certainly do that if that's your direction to us.
So let's do this first. If it's good, let's go ahead and vote on this one if we're going to declare this as surplus. That's procedural. We need to do that to get it on the rolls. And then we can get, if it's okay with everybody up here, we can give direction to the staff attorney to look into your suggestion to what would we have to formulate or create in order to do that. So do I have a motion to pass Resolution 2017R?
So moved.
Roll call.
Oh, that's right. Well, we need a
Don't we have to pass it?
second, yeah.
So I need-
Oh, she made the motion, okay.
Yeah. So I have a first and a second to pass it. Roll call, Jenny?
Yes, sir. Vice Mayor Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Linkett,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Mayor Jameson.
Yes. So the motion to declare this property as surplus passed. And then, Mr. Walker, if you would just delve in and just come back in the near future to tell us what procedures would need to be made to establish that. Greatly appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Item number 8 is consider resolution 27S. Mr. Walker?
Sir. Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, approving the amendment to the traffic signal maintenance and compensation agreement between the City of High Springs and Florida Department of Transportation, previously entered into, providing for maintenance and operation of intersection control beacons, and providing for payment to the City of High Springs for maintenance and operation of intersection control beacons, authorizing the appropriate city staff and officials to execute the agreement, provided that the City of High Springs will accept the responsibilities as outlined in the attached agreement, repealing all resolutions in conflict and establishing an effective date. The appropriate motion is passed. Resolution 2017-S upon its reading by title only.
Sure, it sounds much more complicated than it really is. What it really is, the state pays us for maintaining their lights. Since we don't have a maintenance section to be able to do so, we then contract with Gainesville, and they come out here and maintain it for us. In between, we actually make a little money because we pay Gainesville less money than we get from the state. This is probably the first time that we'll ever make a little money off the state. And it's only a few $100s, but still.
Hey.
Now, this is a regular annual contract, Mr. Walker. We have this. This is, one, again, a procedural thing just to make sure we update the contract, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion that.
Wait, hold on a second. Nancy.
I was just going to say, previously, we've just made a motion approving staff to enter into the contract, but the state has now asked that we kind of memorialize it in a resolution. So that's why we've done it a little different this year.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2017S.
I have a second? Second. I have a first and a second to consider Resolution 27S, and that's to go into interlocal agreement to maintain the system. Any comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Linkett,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Mayor Jameson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Yes, sir.
Item number 9, consider Resolution 2017T. Mr. Walker.
This is a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, in support of a local bill amending Section 373.023 of the Florida statutes, prohibiting Alachua County from adopting or enforcing wetlands or surface water regulations more stringent than state regulations, requiring Alachua County to apply state standards to the review of development applications that impact wetlands or surface waters, resolving conflicts of law, repealing all resolutions in conflict, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass Resolution 2017-T as read by title only.
I've been involved with this, both the two that are coming up, 9 and 10, with the League of Cities. What it is the League of Cities strongly believes that the county is trying to regulate the cities, and that if you don't sign off, or we're all at 9 cities telling the county that we're not going to go along with their ordinances, that we follow both the Suwannee River and DP, and we follow their regulations, and the county is wanting to do something different. The truth is we only have 2 acres in wetlands. and that's 2 acres by the river. The rest of it is high and dry. And so, however, many of the cities have large areas, and that's the concern. So we're just going along with the League of Cities.
Questions?
So we need a motion.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I was just going to see if anybody had any comments on what, Mr. Walker, if you can, and Mr. Booth on this one. Give me the consequence so that people understand this. What is the purpose?
Well,
you go ahead.
The purpose is not to have the county permit our building. Mm-hmm. And we have been fighting this. It goes back to the Boundary Adjustment Act. And ever since that, the county has been determined that they are going to control the cities. They don't like growth. They refuse it, and so they are been trying to put some regulations on that. The legislative group has gotten involved, and they have threatened to take away the charter of the county over these things that they're trying to do. We're just telling the county in these 2 resolutions, no.
And by doing this, it repeals any conflict between what the county might say and someone coming into our town to build. We have say-so over it. That's what the intent of this resolution is.
So the hierarchy of laws are, you have your federal laws and your state laws, and sometimes those are in conflict, but and then you have local legislation, which is next, and you have counties which are imposing laws over the cities. So you have a contest there as to what law governs between the county and the city. And the cities, the 9 cities in Alachua County, believe the county is making an incursion into our home rule powers by regulating stormwater in such a manner that is going to be very, very expensive to allow for building. And the benefit that is achieved by these stormwater regulations is minimal, arguably minimal, in comparison to the cost. So, as your manager just said, that's a way of affecting the ability to build affordable housing in your city. The county, because it's a charter county, has the ability to affect regulations that affect environmental laws countywide, and that includes in the city of High Springs or the city of Newberry or city of Gainesville. And so these are contests that are now being put in place because of these sort of regulations. And it's frankly very, very hard to opt out of a county regulation since they have the authority to effectuate those kind of rules countywide. It would be very, very difficult, in my estimation, to opt out of that if we had a conflict ordinance. Other kinds of ordinances we can sometimes conflict out on, and then we retain our home rule powers. In this instance, I don't think that's going to be available to us. So now we're appealing to a higher power, our local legislative delegation, to create a law that says, look, county, as long as the builders in our area, as long as the Suwannee River Water Management District is creating best practice management rules and regulations that are equal playing field for everybody, we will follow those rules instead of these rules, which we believe are questionable at best. That's the nature of this dispute.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions?
I just have one. If they're building in a wetlands area, they have to go through Suwannee River Management District anyway for approval, correct?
That is true, okay. But again, we only have a couple acres that are...
Right, but if those acres were part of something that was being built on, there would be that first step because that has to happen before they submit to building department.
That is
correct.
It's the same thing anywhere, even with number 10, it's if they build, they have to do stormwater according to Suwannee River. Well, we haven't got to 10, so I'll talk about 10.
Okay. Any questions? I need you to can you come up front, please?
On this issue. My name's Elaine DeBranson. I live here in town, and I am concerned about the wetlands. High Springs only has 2 acres, you say,
Yes, ma'am,
that are
that's been
wetlands.
identified.
All right, so we only are concerning ourselves basically in number 9 here with those 2 acres. Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
correct? It's my understanding, I could be wrong, that the county would like more stringent measures in developing the wetlands than the state. Is that correct?
I think that would be correct.
Yes,
I think
Yes.
that's a fair statement.
Well, why would High Springs not want to go along with more stringent regulations for wetlands? Why would you want to build on wetlands?
We wouldn't, nor would we allow that to happen. But if you allow the county to get their nose under the tent, it'll get larger and larger.
We're only referring to number 9 here. We're only referring to this resolution.
Yes, ma'am.
We're only referring to basically regulations concerning wetlands.
If it's only 2 acres, why would the county be concerned?
Well, you could have more. That's not the point. That's not the point that I'm trying to make either. What I'm trying to find out is why would you want to go along with less stringent regulations for wetlands?
It really doesn't say less.
Well, we all know that they're less stringent than the county of Alachua.
Let me see if I can help, Mr. Mayor. This board is adopting the regulations that are promulgated by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection.
Yes.
That's basically where
That's correct.
We're setting the bar there.
Uh-huh. It's a low bar.
Under our home rule powers, if we say we should set the bar higher because our residents come forward, our residents say the bar needs to be set higher, then it's our opinion that is this board that should make that decision, not another board. That should not be done for us. That's the concept of home rule powers. And so this is the nature of the dispute. I think the point that is being lost here, or not being argued at least, is that who gets to make the decision? Should it be this board or should it be the county? And when you're a resident of High Springs, our argument is you should be able to come to this meeting and lobby for more stringent regulations. And if you get a majority of this board that is elected by you as residents of High Springs, that's where the decision should be made. So that's the nature of this argument that's going on here. Not necessarily that the waters in our area should be less protected. I think that is not the situation that the board is adopting here by this action tonight. If that at least helps.
Let's take a scenario that hasn't developed yet. Go along with this resolution and approve it. A developer comes in and says, hey, I like those 2 acres of wetlands. Boy, that'd be a terrific place to put a condominium in. They'd have a great view, right? What can you do about it? Nothing. You've gone along with the standards that were set up by Florida EPA, and you don't have the more stringent resolutions adopted by the county, but you have to go along with it. How many people are going to come forward and protest? You've already said in this resolution that you're willing to go along with it.
No, ma'am. We have a planning and zoning board, and that planning and zoning board could turn down any kind of development.
They could, but they're not likely to if the developer is complying with the regulations that you have authorized.
Well, we haven't authorized anything. I think what we're trying to say here is do we want the county to dictate what we do, or do we want to be able to dictate what we do? We can put whatever stringence we want. When they come in there with the planning and zoning board, we can put what we want in there. do we want someone outside of our city determining what we can and can't do as opposed to us? And then if you don't like what we do, then obviously you get us off the board. But this is more of a home rule, as he says, is not letting the big brother come in and tell you what you can do, as opposed to we would like to make our decisions on what is best for High Springs. It could be stringent. It could be more stringent. That would come to us when they bring their plans and they show us what they're going to do. We have to approve them. We don't approve the plans. They don't dig one scoop of sand.
Money talks. If you have a developer come in that wants to spend $1 million, you're going to listen to him.
I won't disagree on the listen, but I think you're going to have to give a little credit on the deal from an integrity standpoint. No. I've lived long enough to where some things are right and some things are wrong. And so I would just simply say that. So that's the time.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to clarify. Tonight, this resolution is not adopting any standards in the city of High Springs. This is not adjusting anything that we're currently doing. This is saying that you support the local legislation that Representative Clements is suggesting for our area, and that legislation would be limiting the county's ability to pass stricter regulations in the incorporated areas in Alachua County. So this was just lending support for potential legislation down the road on a state level that applies locally. This is not tonight adopting any regulations in the city of High Springs as it pertains to wetlands.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to share that I did a renovation on a commercial building here in High Springs, and at that time we did not have a building department. It was an existing structure that I was not making any outside changes to. I was renovating the inside and taking it from residential to commercial. I had to go to the county building department. I had to deal with the fact that we didn't have a planner on staff here, and I had to deal with Suwannee River Management District. And it took me about 8 months to get through to get a permit to do the work because we did not have everything here in the city. We now have a person in our building department who has brought it a level of professionalism that we have not had ever in the building department in this city. And he's very experienced and very knowledgeable, and I think that's going to help us make much better decisions about what we allow. But the first stop for me, even on a renovation that wasn't going to impact anything, I had to go to Suwannee River Management District, and I had to do certain things before I could get the approval from them because whatever I did on the parking area was going to affect the runoff. And so it's not just saying that we're going to let whatever happen because there's another regulating authority that you have to start with. They don't even allow you to apply for a permit. So I know that I lost probably 6 months on that project while I had materials sitting there and paying a mortgage while I was running around to 3 different agencies, 4 because I had the county fire department, and I couldn't get the permits involved. And I think that's what they're trying to do here is to keep it within our control within the city so that we get to make the decisions about what happens here in our city.
I can appreciate you running through all that red tape. My main concern is the wetlands, preservation of the wetlands, and that's why I was concerned about that, and I'm still concerned about it because I know. Well, there we go. We're done.
Well, no, let me say, greatly appreciate your comments, and I'm not just saying that to say greatly appreciate it, and I would hope that whoever is up here at the time this happens would understand that. So I thank you.
Yeah, well, that's my concern. Thank you
very much.
Mr. Mayor, just from an informational standpoint as well, it's not as though we don't have, and I think this is the point that Ms. Johnson was making, is that we have wetland regulations in existence, and if the citizen would like to look at our land development regulations, it's in section Article 4, Natural and Cultural Resources, and it goes through all kinds of regulations that are already in existence that are very stringent upon the city of High Springs. 100-year flood plan of the Santa Fe River, We've determined that all lands lying within city limits and lands within the city's urban reserve area have high aquifer recharge potential. So everywhere in the city is basically sensitive lands. And then these other areas are development constraint areas that you cannot build on. Santa Fe River 100-year flood plan, any 100-year flood plan independent of the Santa Fe River, wetlands as defined by state and or federal law, endangered species habitat, lands lying within 20 feet of the edge of a sink, 200 feet of the edge of a sinkhole, land lying within a 600 radius of any potable well used to serve the public. Then it goes on for 30 pages until you get to the next section that's really pertinent to this, which is the well field and also wetland protections, and it goes on for another series of pages protecting wetlands, sinkhole restrictions, as we've talked about. Once you get through that set of regulations in our existing code, you next go to development plan approval, and there's a whole other set of regulations that tells you can't build in wetlands and you can't build near wetlands. You have to go to setbacks. As I was stating, there's significant setbacks before you can build in those wetlands. So there's lots of
That was good information.
regs.
That's good information. Thank you, Mr. Walker. If she would want something.
She's welcome to it. Absolutely.
We can get you that. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments? So we have a motion for 2017T. Jenny, did we already do a motion? We haven't? Okay. So I need a motion on resolution 2017T.
I make a motion that we can consider resolution 2017T.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to resolution 2017T. Jenny?
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
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 Once again, I thank you for your comments, ma'am. Item number 10, consider resolution 2017U. Mr. Walker.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, in support of local bill amending section 403.0891 of the Florida statutes, requiring that Alachua County Stormwater Management Plan and Program incorporate the best management practices adopted by the Department of Environmental Protection, specifying that applications for development approval which implement the best management practices are presumed to be in compliance with certain local government water quality standards, prohibiting Alachua County from adopting or enforcing more stringent water quality standards for stormwater discharges to surface areas, surface waters, wetlands, or groundwater, repealing all resolutions in conflict and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass resolution number 2017-U as read by title only.
This is actually even more controversial, and the cities have gotten an engineer to negate what the county wants to do. In our city, again, most of the stormwater comes from a DOT or it comes from agriculture, and both of those are exempt from all of it. So we're really left with those stormwater areas that have already been built in the subdivisions. So we're looking in the future. The county's position is they want to put in this material called BAM. However, it's very controversial whether it works or it doesn't work. And we feel that our stormwater program that we have and we require is as stringent, if not stringenter, than theirs. And the idea is to take out more nitrates from the water going into the springs. And what we're really doing in our program is that over the next 2 or 3 years, we will take out 500 septic systems, and they produce 45 pounds each per year. That's a huge amount compared to the 100 pounds that their program does, and we're not sure their program does any more than our ordinances in Swanee River does now. The big thing is, since since the Border Adjustment Act was taken out, which really gave the power to the county to determine the size and what we were going to build. They've come up with these other ideas that will require the city to be permitted. It's the permit. We don't care what what they say, as long as they take out the permit and require the cities that if we're going to do any building, then we have to go through the county. And that itself will stop. You know, the impact of any of this really is minor to the cities. We're in support of the other 9.
Ms. Johnson, Clemens, and can you distinguish upon this a little bit more and exact? Because we're not advocating, we're just supporting. Could you?
Correct. So, as your manager was saying, and as Mr. Walker was saying, many of the municipalities were concerned about the county enforcing these regulations on the incorporated areas through their Amendment 1 to the charter, which allows them to put in regulations that affect water or air quality. So their argument is that the wetlands regulation and the stormwater regulation affects water quality in Alachua County. And so the municipalities had previously gone to the county and said, you know, we also are in favor of wetlands protection, water quality in the area, but what we would prefer is that you include an opt-in provision. You put together the regulations, bring it to us, and allow us to say, we agree, we'd like this here. The county wasn't receptive to that idea. They're still kind of discussing if that might be a possibility, and so some elected officials and staff in various cities went to our local delegation and sought help. And so Representative Clements has said that he would be willing to put together legislation that would apply just here locally in Alachua County that would limit the county's ability to put in stricter regulations countywide. First on the wetlands, like we just discussed, and now on the stormwater. But because this is legislation that would affect everyone here, Representative Clements would like to make sure that all of the cities are kind of on board, that everybody understands this and that everybody's requesting this. So he would like to know the position of the cities, and that's why these resolutions are going to be coming before all 9 municipalities in Alachua County. I don't know that they're all going to be identical to yours, but substantially similar. So the legislation has not actually been crafted yet, hasn't been finalized. He just wants to make sure that this is, in fact, what the cities are requesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Comments? Anybody up front here?
We have, in our land development code, we have areas that deal with the stormwater, or we go by the best practices by DEP.
Yes, ma'am. That in Swanee River.
Okay.
So we have to meet both those requirements.
Okay.
Any other comments? Do I hear a motion on this at all?
I will make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2017U.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second to approve Resolution 2017U. Jenny?
Yes.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Thank you all, and thank you for the comments. Item number 11, consider Resolution 27V. Mr. Walker.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of High Springs adopting revised rates for multiple licensed businesses at the same location, revising Resolution 2017G, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is pass Resolution 2017-B as read by title only.
Mayor, we've gone around with this quite a bit. We initially put a fairly high amount on there on the monthly basis, which was a minimum, and we have now worked this out, though, so it averages out to be $7.42, and that is only fair. And the reasoning is that many of the businesses downtown have their separate meters, and they also pay minimum and quite a bit more. So what we're really saying to these people is that when you have one meter and you have multiple businesses there, we expect you to pay a little bit more to make it fair. And so $7.42 seems to be a very reasonable.
So I'm going to tell you that I need to abstain from voting on this, but I want to discuss it. I will be affected by the results, so I will not be voting. But I have been around town, and I have talked to a lot of people. I understand that it's not a lot of money, but I also understand that those small businesses are the backbone of business in this community. And I also understand what it's like to be not even pulling out a salary out of a business. And as I walked around town and talked to people over and over and over, that was what I heard. And the people that are doing those small businesses in this community, the reason people want to walk up and down Main Street, don't do it for the money. They're there because they have a passion for it. And it's a very hard situation because you work 7 days a week often. The other costs that come along, because I looked at already a commercial business in the city of High Springs pays an additional $15.68 in their base rate over residential, okay? I know that when I had a commercial business, I could not put recycling stuff out and I could not put yard trash out, so I had to haul that somewhere else to get rid of it. I paid an abundant amount of taxes. I had fees for licenses above and beyond the city occupational license. Every business that has a fictitious name has paid a fictitious name fee. There's a percentage they pay for the privilege of allowing you to use your plastic debit card or credit card. Many of them have Department of Health fees that get paid. I think that this, although it's not much money and although there's a principle here that you're trying to prove, I think this is sending a very bad message to small businesses who have supported this community. And I know the intent was for particular buildings that don't have separate meters, but the unintended consequences is a message we're sending to small business owners who are literally barely making it. So I think that I was not part of the original discussion because I wasn't noticed because I wasn't the owner of the building, or I would have been here talking to you about it at that time. I did get a notice in the mail this time that came to my business because I'm one of those people. And it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but over the course of the year, it is. And I just, if you walk around town and you talk to the people that own those businesses, you know that they're hanging on by their fingernails right now. So I don't think this is a good idea.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, I'll talk on it because I guess basically this has been my thing that I've sort of pushed since I've been on the commission for 5.5 years. I guess I would counter that argument to the extent of what about the small businesses that have paid the base rate for the 10 or 15 years? They have paid it. I think we have to be careful to the extent, and I understand, I'm not trying to be callous, my dad was a private businessman for 43 years. But we have small businesses out there that are paying the full $49, and they've been paying $49 to use the system for 10 to 15 years. The base rate helps pay for the system. It's not the consumption. The consumption is already taken care of. All the businesses pay the consumption. What we're sitting here is saying you're using, this is my logic, and this is not the board's, this is my logic, so when you guys hear this, is you're using the system. Whether you like the system or not, I understand that. To me, that's a moot point because we have it. It's here. and now we have to make the best of it. So you're using it. Every other small business, I think there's 1,200 total people, I had the numbers and I don't have it, have been paying it. So what do we tell them when they've been paying this fee, $47 for 15 years, and this business who is using the system, they don't have a separate grinder, but they're using the system, they're not paying to use the system. They're just paying for the consumption. And so I think for me, it's something to try to offset and make it fair for all of those who have paid. So I understand the money. I'm not trying to be for me on this one here, but I'm also thinking of 1,200 people who've been paying this fee because circumstances predicated that they were in a business by themselves. So it's a system that the city is desperately trying to get to self-sustaining, and we're not far away. But for me, it's more of an equity type of thing. You're using the system. There should be some cost to use the system. So I'm in favor of the 742. There again, this has been my thing since for 5.5 years is for us to get sustainability so we don't have to draw money out. So thank you. Any other comments? Anybody in the audience? So I will, do I have a motion on this one or some sort of thing on how we want to proceed?
I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2017B.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I second.
I have a first and a second to approve Resolution 27B. All in favor say aye. Aye. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You think I didn't know that by now? This is like the fifth one. I get it by next one? Yeah.
Mayor Dennison?
Yes.
Mayor Jones? Yes. Commissioner Lincoln?
Abstain. Okay.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 with one abstain. I understand this is a controversial issue, and I appreciate the people on this deal. I thank you, and I'll leave it at that. We have in place as to how we're going to go about doing this, Jennifer, that you're going to notify the billing, you're going to work it out with the business owners, you're going to figure out individually or business-wise, we're going to give them the option to work that out, correct?
Yes, they actually, everybody has received letters, and the people we had some that came back, we were hand-delivered. I'm not sure on the letter, is it January that we're going to start doing it?
I think it said December on it, Jennifer.
December.
Hang on a minute and I'll read it.
January 15th.
January 15th. If that's when you all want that, I mean.
I want to make sure they have adequate. My thing is
they've all been notified.
They've had adequate. Well, they need to make plans. I don't. You're in the holiday.
And we can do it after the holidays.
I would prefer, me personally, is that you would do it within the January billing, let them get through the holidays, and let them figure out. That would be my personal thing.
We'll do it.
We'll do it.
I think that's fair after the holidays.
After the holidays, that's not a problem.
So we do it on whatever the January billing.
The January billing, it'll go out the end of January.
And you'll work with each of them to determine how they want to, right, individually or in business. Okay, I appreciate that.
No problem.
Item number 12, consider bids for surplus property. Mr. Booth?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The one we've already surplus, that's number A. What we'd like to do is turn around and redo it to 10,000.
Right, that's the one you were talking about.
Yes, it is. The second parcel, we need to surplus. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did earlier.
We did earlier. Okay, that's right. We did earlier. None of these properties are great. The 10,000 is probably the best of the other appraised at 8,000. But the house that's on it has to be taken down. We have had that on code enforcement for 15 years. It is literally falling down. It is possible we could get the fire department to burn that down we need to clear a lot of vegetation around that building. And then the cost, then we'll turn around and sell it once we've disposed of the building and the yard and trees and everything else that's there.
How much do you think the lot is worth without the structure on it approximately?
$8,000 according to the appraiser.
So the building had no negligible value when they did the appraisal?
It actually is the other way around.
It causes less value. Okay.
The cost was $4,000 to get rid of the building and the vegetation.
And that's on Railroad Avenue, correct?
It is just off, it's one street over from Railroad.
Okay, it's over in the southeast section.
It is, yes ma'am. If we're going to get many, many more of these, as I said, the tax collector came here and said that they have been waiting about 10 years and that his orders were that he was to put all these up for sale if in 2 years. So we have many years of buildings waiting, and some of them are what we have on code enforcement that will wind up ours and we'll have to take them down.
So we've got the 2 properties. We don't have any bids on those. So what we would need to do, at least on the 2 properties, we would have to bid them back out?
Yes, sir.
And do you advertise those in the paper? Is that how you do it? Okay.
We have to.
Okay.
So do we need to do anything on the 2 A and B, the properties, or do we, Mr. Walker, do we need to, or can we just direct them to re-advertise for those?
I think we already took care of A, isn't that right? Yeah, so B, yes, and then C, yes.
Yeah, C we need to talk to individually. Okay.
But it was advertised.
Right.
Thank you, Jenny.
The truck.
I think he's looking for a motion on
do we need a motion to do that?
Please.
So how would you phrase that?
Motion to declare tax parcel number 00957-000-000 as surplus and to be disposed of in accordance with the city's surplus property provisions.
Somebody want?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Whatever you say. So I have a motion and a second to declare parcel 00957-000 as surplus property and.
We've already taken
It can't, so we're already.
So we're looking for a minimum bid. Is that what you want us to vote on tonight, to allow you to lower the minimum bid on it?
Yes, ma'am, because we did put it out for bid for $17,000, the appraised value, and nobody took it at all. And so we'd like to put it down to $10,000, and I believe I have a buyer that would, but we still have to advertise it.
Right.
Well, the thing says consider bids, but we don't have any bids. We don't have any bids.
No.
Okay, so what we're saying is for and we're going to discuss C in a second. So what we're saying is for A and B, we want to rebid them.
Yes.
At a lower rate.
At a lower price. So we want to give you authority to rebid them at a lower price.
Yes, sir.
Jenny, do we need to do, or can we just direct him to do that?
You bet.
So Mr. Booth, if you'll.
I will take care of it.
Rebid those 2 at a lower price.
Yes, sir.
And get back to us. We'll address item number C.
Number C, we surplused this quite a while ago. We put it out for bids. So we got a bid of $2,200. And we also have a request from the fire school college. And so I'm really throwing it up to you. The $2,000 is minimum. It has no effect on the fire department. We might get more goodwill from the fire college, and I'm now going to turn it over to the fire chief.
I got a question.
Fire Chief Bruce Gillingham, clarification, it's the Lofton Fire Academy that has requested the truck. So it's over at Lofton High School.
Oh, okay.
I believe they put in a request for the truck to be donated, and then we have a bid in from an individual locally that is requesting to purchase the vehicle. Like Mr. Booth said, it doesn't affect the fire department either way. It's not going to affect our budget anyway. really at the flavor of the commission on which direction you'd like to go. I believe both parties are here who have requested the vehicle. So if you'd like to speak with them, they're both here.
Yeah, what they gonna do with it, sir?
Go ahead.
Let me just tell you.
Your name, please.
Mr. Chair, Mark Smith. I'm the director and fire chief for the Lofton Academy of Fire and EMS. Basically, we're a school within the Alachua County Public School System. It's, has everybody heard of Lofton?
Yes.
For the last 10 years, it hasn't been the Lofton for troubled kids. It's 5 professional academies. One of them is the Academy of Fire and EMS. And so what we're doing is we're teaching kids local from all over the county on an application basis, those that want to come to the Academy of Fire and EMS. And we teach them how to be a firefighter and how to be an EMT in the hopes that we're going to get these kids to stay local and stay with their families and work for the local fire department. So school board budget is really slim and fire trucks are pretty expensive. So we take whatever we can get, and a functioning fire truck would do our program a lot of good in helping them get some real-world hands-on training with fire service.
Thank you.
So that's what we're about.
So you're going to actually be using the truck to train the kids on?
Absolutely. We have hose already. We have a truck, but it's been in disrepair for a while, so it doesn't pump water. It'd be really nice to be able to pump water and flow water through the hoses and things like that and give them that real-world hands-on training. We've already got some graduates that are going on to nursing school, and some are going to fire college, and some are currently in Santa Fe's EMT program. Like I said, in the hopes that we're going to get some local talent to stay local in these jobs.
Okay. And Bruce, that truck is?
Is it a rescue truck or is it a fire truck?
Bruce Gillingham, Fire Chief again. The truck in question is a 1991 International that we replaced back in 2013. We were using the vehicle as a backup to the engine or our tanker if it went down at any time. It has passed current pump test. It's just lived its serviceability for us. We have no use for the vehicle anymore. So this May, I believe we surplused the vehicle to get it pay off of insurance and be out of our maintenance rotation. But as of 2016, it did pass pump cert. It does pump water currently.
Okay, so that's usable and the kids can.
And do you have any idea what the value of the truck is? Because I know it's substantially more than this bid that we got.
From a fire department standpoint, the truck has zero value.
Okay.
There will be no fire department that will buy it. It's not serviceable. It doesn't meet any shape, form of NFPA standard other than it can pass a pump cert at this point in time. In 1992, a year after they purchased the vehicle, NFPA said no more stick shift fire trucks. At this point, that apparatus is a stick shift. We couldn't even train people to it. The best anti-theft device right now for young kids is a stick shift because none of them can drive it. So it's got its own challenges in that retrospect as well. But the city purchased a truck new back in the day, and it's done us well, and it's outlived its life at this point.
Okay.
It also, as far as on the books, it would be fully depreciated.
Fully depreciated, okay.
Okay, so the monetary value that we had from the bid doesn't make any difference to you one way or the other?
No, ma'am, because it really truly does have no value to another fire department. For a training center, for what they're using it for, they're not responding to emergency calls. The training that they're doing, the truck would be absolutely fine. The other individual that's looking at purchasing the vehicle, I believe, isn't going to use it as a fire truck, has a secondary company that he can use the cabin chassis for, if it's the same individual I spoke to. Okay. So that would be their interest. So it's kind of really, honestly, it's what your flavor is at this point, what the commission would like to do.
All right.
Okay. I'm familiar with your program. Okay. I know young lady passed now. She at Santa Fe, if I'm not mistaken. I think she's going on to be a nurse now.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's an excellent program. So I'm leaning towards, because I'm a big fan of educating our young people. Big fan of that. I think education is the most important thing. So I'm pretty much in favor of donating it to our children. People like hear me say that, but when I say our children, I mean our children, all children. So I'm pretty much in favor of donating it to help train our children that maybe they might come and work for High Springs one day. Who knows?
Thank you. Thank you.
No offense to you, sir, but.
Sir.
I'm David Levins. I'm initially initiated getting the truck a while back. I've done plenty of due diligence to get this truck. It's been stated that it should not be around children. It's a stick-shift vehicle. And I believe it's it can't pump and go, which that's the new standard. So they might be training on a vehicle that's obsolete. I did due diligence. I followed the process of the bid process. I'm the only one that turned in a bid. As far as I know, there wasn't another paper bid turned in as required to obtain this vehicle. There was plenty of time to get this vehicle for this school. I'm not against the school getting it any bit means, but I could definitely do it. Definitely use it. I'll use it for my own personal use. I'm not going to resell it, and I'm not going to use it for a fire truck, but I wish you would listen to me and in kind follow the process that the city took by spending city's money on an ad, which I responded to. If that pleases y'all, or if I can say anything that I can get the equipment instead of donating for free. Also, the county has more money than I do, so they could have certainly put a bid in it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Didn't know if there was going to be a fight for it.
It's not a fight.
Yeah, you're right.
That's not a fight.
Question, and just on if you could step, yes, sir. If you could clarify or answer some of the questions right there as far as the use of it. Sure. I'm assuming, I'm also familiar with it because on the deal. So I mean, I'm assuming the truck is going to stay stationary. That the students aren't going to be driving it.
No, the students are not going to be driving it. At our campus, it's a pretty large campus. We sit just to the west of Morningside Nature Center. There's a horticulture center in the back, and there's a partnership with Alachua County Fire Rescue. There's a 3-story shipping container facility that has been built and permitted. And, so it's a shared training facility with Alachua County. And through Alachua County, it's also shared with all the different municipalities. They just need to call us and schedule if they want to come out and train there. So we have some equipment. So we would drive it maybe 200 yards to get from where the classroom building is back to the training facility. I would drive it, yes. And for the record, I cut my teeth on a 1966 Peter Purse 5-speed fire truck.
Not much older.
Any other questions with that?
Then the question, so it's not a danger to the kids, the truck?
No, sir.
Guaranteed.
Not a danger to them.
And so, okay, thank you. Any other questions? Anybody have any questions for him?
I would like clarification. We put an ad in the paper to sell it. Is that what we did in it initially?
We did.
And then Mr. Levins responded.
He did.
And then in the meantime, the decision, or it came about that we could donate it to Lofton. Is that correct?
Well, it was just brought up, and the council has that authority.
You have the right to reject any and all bids whenever you have a bid, and then you can donate it. And this is similar to what we have done with properties where we've said we're going to donate it to Habitat for Humanity. That's a public purpose. Certainly giving the truck to Lofton would meet a public purpose test. So you have the ability to sell it for the funds that are as per the bid, or it's your discretion to donate it. This is really within the board's discretion to do either or.
Well, I too am very much interested in the education of our children. I'm leaning towards that position. I just wanted to get clarification on how the two.
One thing might help. As far as the roadworthiness of it, I think is one of the questions. It is inspected and serviced by the Alachua County School Board fleet, just the same way that they do the school buses that all the children ride every day. We do service it through the proper people for roadworthiness.
Thank you.
Can we go for another bid? That's what we talked about with the other properties. Are we allowed to put this thing for another bid?
Well, I'm not sure.
We did with the properties, we did with the real properties.
Yeah, I'm going to say, when you say do another bid, explain to me.
Run it again.
Well, the question would be is if
there wasn't a minimum bid stated.
No, what I'm saying is if the deal is that we're going to reject the bid, and we were going to donate it, there is no reason to do another bid if our thing is to donate.
Okay.
Does that make?
Yeah, I
I'm
totally
not
understand.
advocating. I'm just saying I don't think another bid would do it. We would decide.
It's one or the other. It's
Right.
give it away for free
We would
after the
accept
fact.
this
If
one.
you advertised it in good faith that you were going to sell it, and
That
now
would be-
someone else wants it. I understand, and you can do that.
Yes.
Ask a question. In lieu of what he's saying, are we getting ourselves into a situation for future situations? When things like this come up before, and come up again, I should say, and we have to advertise it, are we going to leave a negative impression on our citizens out there, and they're not going to want to bid next time around? Well, I bid it before, and look what happened. Am I going to take the opportunity to even bother to bid the next time it comes up?
Well, Gloria, we do that every time we go out for bid, especially for construction. Only one person gets the bid. It's sort of
I
like,
understand.
and the other ones, are kind of disappointed.
All right. I just want to be sure we're not hurting ourselves for the future.
Any other comments?
I don't think that's the case. Somebody wants to bid on something they want it, they're going to bid anyway, and it may be this type of situation where we found out where there was an educational use for it.
Oh, I'm all for the educational
Well, I
use of it
understand,
as
but
well. I was thinking the same thing, but also in the back of my mind is this question, and I just thought I'd put it out there.
So let me ask you something. Did you find out about the fire truck being available through the bid process? Is that how you became aware that we had the opportunity for you to possibly, your letter's dated the same day as his bid is what I'm looking at, okay? So I'm just trying to figure out, is that when you realized I'm just trying to figure out how you found out that we had this fire truck available.
It was brought up in discussion in a phone conversation him and I had.
Okay.
There had to be a letter from us that the truck was surplused and out. Then there had to be some correspondence between the two entities. They were requesting it as a donation under the bid process.
So you had to send a letter to them?
Because the way the school board property works, we had to send a letter stating the vehicle was surplus before he was allowed to put anything in.
Before he was allowed to do his letter of request, okay? Okay.
Yeah, it's been surplus since May. I think it was 27th, 2017, but it just went out for the process for the bid. I don't even know when it went out, several weeks ago. And it came up in conversation. We had to send a letter over for the school board to his purchasing people, and then it had to come back to us, and it went to Ms. Parham under the bid process.
Okay.
The bid process was skipped because there was only one bid.
Sir.
Where's the other bid?
All right, the bid process, in my opinion, with this is not skipped. They complied. They put in a bid of 0 in request for donation for the truck. If we're going to go back and forth and split hairs on this, that is my opinion. I would ask legal what their opinion is on that and go from there.
As I said it earlier, you have the discretion. You can donate your lands to Habitat for Humanity if that's what you think is the public purpose and suits the city and benefits the city. You have the absolute discretion to do that. If you think that this fire truck benefits the public and it serves a public purpose to donate it to a school, you have the ability to do that. If you want to sell it to this gentleman that's here, you have the ability to do that. If you want to just stop everything and rebid it, you have the authority to do that too.
So if we wanted, so the decision really would be at this point in time, you're either going to accept the bid or you're going to reject the bid. My thing is
right,
you're going to reject it.
That's right.
Because we're not donate. And then if we want to donate, that's a separate type of deal. So you either accept the bid, you don't accept it. If you reject the bid, which legally we can reject any bid at any time.
That's right.
For any
correct.
Type of deal bid. And then the decision then, if it wants to be donated, that would be a separate act.
That's correct.
Type of deal. So in essence, what we're looking for then is what we'd be looking for this is a motion to either accept the bid or reject the bid. is what we do. And then if we reject the bid, then if somebody wanted to bring up a motion, I'm not advocating on the deal. If somebody wanted to bring it to donate it, then that would be a separate motion.
But so, after I'm looking at this letter here, this received on November the 7th. This letter was dated November the 7th. So I guess this is not considered as a bid. That's what y'all telling me? This is not considered as a bid.
Right.
Okay.
It's notification.
It's notification they like to have the bid.
Yeah. So in essence, that's Mr. Walker describing. So at this point in time, what we would be asking for is a motion to either accept the bid or reject it.
That's right.
And we would vote on that.
That's right.
Regardless if there was other bids out here or not.
That's right.
Okay, so that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
Or table it and bring it back and do something at a later date.
Well, I make a motion to.
We don't need to. Go ahead. Go ahead and make your motion.
Yeah, I make a motion to reject the bid for the $2,250.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second to reject the bid. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, 5-0. Reject the bid. Is there any other action that would want to be taken on this issue?
Yeah. Do I need to make a motion to?
I'm just saying, is there any other action that somebody would like to propose?
Yes, sir, I would. Yes, sir. I would like to make that motion to donate the fire truck from the City of High Spring to the Professional Academy Magnet Program.
I have a motion to donate the fire truck to the Lofton Fire Academy. Is there a second?
Yes, there's a second.
Any comments on that?
Good idea.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. It is the board's decision to donate the fire truck to the Lofton Academy. Thank you. Item number 13, consider approval of second amended interlocal agreement with Alachua County for distribution of wild spaces and public places for the purchase of rails to trails property. Mr.
I really would have liked to do the first one, the High Springs Natural Park. The county and the city both rejected the offer to sell because it was well above the appraised price of it. And therefore, we came back to the council with another project, and that is to put the money into the parks and into the civic center. And so we went to the county, and they were very open to us doing that, and that resulted in a second interlocal agreement. And they have given us to April of 2019, which was much longer than the first one, to finish this up. We feel that we can finish this interlocal agreement and spend the money by 2018 October.
Spend how much money?
$700,000.
700.
And we're contributing $300,000?
We are of Wild Spaces money.
Okay.
But that's over a 5-year period or 6-year period?
No, sir. We're going to get several $1 million over a 5-year period or 7-year period. So this is the grant that the county had in the matching grant. So they're putting up $350,000. We're putting up $350,000, and it goes into the parks. And as the council has already voted on it, it goes into lights, it goes into bleachers.
But the rails to trails is paid out over a 5-year. I thought we did.
You did, and it's totally separate. We're going to pay the $300,000 for the rails to trails over a period of 5 to 7 years.
Right. So what we did originally was we entered into an interlocal agreement for the grant, matching grant program with the county, as Mr. Booth was explaining with the Springs project that we're not able to do. When we added the rails to trails, we amended that original agreement. And so now that we're changing the Springs project to what we're calling our park enhancement projects, We're just amending that agreement. So the Rails to Trails part isn't changing. It's all one agreement, but it's a separate project. So our repayment schedule for the Rails to Trails is staying the same. And in the other column, the amount of money that we're getting in the matching grant that we would have with the Springs, same amount of money from the county. But yeah, we're just using it for what we're calling our park enhancement projects, which is in the agreement, paragraph 4, items A through G that your manager previously brought to you at the last meeting and you guys voted.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because I know we agreed on the Rails to Trails. It was $50,000 a year, or $60,000 for 5 years. That's where the $300,000. That hasn't changed. We're just shifting the money from the Springs to the parks.
That's correct.
That's all. That's
all that's changing. We're just getting rid of the Springs project and replacing it with this.
Okay. Any comments from you?
Good projects. Very good projects.
So do I have any motion or so forth on this?
I will make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement between Alachua County and the City of High Springs for the distribution of the wild spaces and public places.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I second.
I have a first and a second to approve the interlocal agreement with Alachua County for the wild spaces and public places agreement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the agreement passes 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, we will bring this back to the county. As your manager said, staff already approves this. We just now need to get the county commission to sign off like you are. Okay. Thank you.
And what, Mr. Booth, as we go, give us some sort of time frame, something that we can, where we'll actually see visual stuff being done.
Oh, you'll see some of that probably in January.
Okay. I mean,
and
just
then
so that
running all the way through to October, when you see bleachers and lights. Okay. The Civic Center should start in about 2 months.
Okay.
I mean, you've already got this all bidded out and ready to go.
No, we really haven't. We have the bid preparation for the Civic Center.
Right.
And everything else will start bidding out for the. A lot of it will be state bid, especially with the bleachers and that, and that'll save us quite a bit of money.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure so that people, they actually see something happening with the money being spent, is what I'm saying.
We're also going to buy that property that is just east of the Memorial Park.
Right.
And so we're looking at trying to find who owns it.
Okay.
The individual who's on the sign doesn't own it.
Really?
Yeah.
The problem changed hands so many times.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's been for sale for years.
Okay, good to go. Number 14, review and consider approval of sewer connection notification letter.
Yes, sir. You have a letter in there. In fact, this is moving faster than we thought. They're out there surveying as we speak. And I want to go door to door and explain to them what's going on. We chose that area in the south part of town because it has the most failing septic systems, and most of the homes are on quarter-acre lots. Therefore, there is no area to expand their septic systems, and this really takes care of that particular problem. There will be some people that will have some financial problems, I know, and we certainly want to work with them. So we're not trying to just slam them with the impact fees. They have no other costs, though. The grant will take care of the connection fees and the sewer lines themselves, feeling that this will enhance their property, because if you have a failing septic system, you can't sell your house. I know it's a little controversial up there, but the truth is this is part of the system started in 2000, and we're now just continuing that. The idea is that the entire city would be on at least some kind of a septic system. This is gravity. Sewer system. This is gravity, and we won't have nearly the maintenance cost under this system. Just one note: had we taken the $2.5 million grant that got turned down in 2010, we would have been much farther ahead. And so we're trying to make up with that.
Okay.
So how many homes is this going to affect?
250.
And is that down off Palm Avenue?
It is.
Is it both sides of? I know it's not called Palm Avenue anymore. But
That's right. It's on both sides and goes all the way in. It's a
both
it's
of
a
those
large
neighborhoods.
area. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And how far down? Down to the end of Palm Avenue?
I don't have the map right here. No, it doesn't go all the way down.
Okay.
It goes down about 5 blocks.
Okay.
And so, I mean, you'll see more as they develop the plans, and then we'll have to go out for bids, and then you'll accept the bids, and then we'll go forward. It looks like the plans will be done by February, and so we'll be going out for bids. This is faster than I thought. And so I guess we're talking about it. It's that we are started our sewer projects now, and we're digging ground for the Camp Kalakwa projects, and then we're doing the 12 grinder pumps. And we were hoping that those 2 projects would be over with before we got into the 250 homes in the south. But it looks like most of our projects are going to kind of overlap themselves, so we're going to be very busy. It really requires the staff to look at what they're doing. They don't have any inspectors. And we need to make sure that the pipes are connected properly. Any problems they have, we're there to help resolve. So between Rodney, David, and myself, we'll be out there. I know this Friday they're going to be out there, and I will too, because I'm not making David or Rodney work Friday, and I'll be out there. So this is what my life is going to be for the next 2 years, is really looking at sewer pipes and projects. But I do that best.
I could only wish.
I know, sir.
Well, I'm glad to see we get ready to grind up.
And so we're back to the letter.
Yes.
What I and the letter has gone around the office, so I've had a lot of looks at it and changes. As an office full of women would do, and so I'm sorry, that was a bad thing.
No, y'all heard him.
Yes, okay, I know. Okay, and so what I'm asking you to do is either yes, no, or changes. I'm open.
Mr. Walker, have you looked at it?
Yeah, it looks fine. Mr. Mayor, just fine.
I like the idea about working with them to get this portion that they have to pay.
Yes, ma'am. That's the reason I want to go door to door.
Yeah.
And I'll do that because most of them work probably after 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Probably 5 to 6 for the next month. I'll just knock on doors and
if we get any calls that you've been arrested because you're trespassing.
I have that group in the back.
There they are.
There they are. That's right.
So, Courtney, do you want to add something to the letter? Do you have something that you want to?
I just have a few simple things, but if the commission approves this in general, then I can, as a female, I can give Mr. Booth some more.
Thank you very much.
You gotta get that
dark in there.
We got a question here, Mr. Wade, from Mr. Booth. Okay, what you're saying that with the finances, a period of 3 years. Say, what if, throwing this monkey in
yes, sir.
wrench out there, somebody say, I can't afford it over the next 3. Well, I can afford it over the next 6 years. Will we work with them?
You will work with them.
Okay.
And that's what we're really saying, is that we're going to work with them. We're there not to make them. You know, I realize there's some people that probably are on Social Security. There are going to be a few people I come to you and say these people absolutely can't pay them, and then it is up to this board then to give it away. Not many, and we're going to be very careful.
And will your ordinance that adopts the impact fee?
Say what?
You have an ordinance where you've established your impact fee, what we're talking about here. There is a provision in there if you are low income, And so we would just follow the guidelines that are in the ordinance. And then it allows you as well separately to have set a term of years for financing. And so once we've got that all arranged, we'll bring that back to you in the form of a resolution.
I make a motion that we approve the sewer connection notification letter.
I got a motion to approve the letter. Second?
Yes.
Got a second? Comments? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing nothing, the letter's approved.
It does have your name on it.
It's got whose name on it?
The commissioner.
It'll have your name and phone number, Scott, that flip phone.
Responsibility of the mayor.
I moved over this in time.
I'm going to advocate that stuff. A long journey on this sewer thing. We're not there yet, but it's a long journey, and I want to make sure everybody understands all the new subdivisions, all the new things, they're all gravity fed. It's not the grinder. So we have made that transition to where all of those are gravity fed, and that is an important element of it. Mr. Walker, City Attorney's report.
None, Mr. Mayor.
That is a nice way to bring in my first meeting. That's excellent. Mr. Booth?
I already gave mine.
You are the man. Nancy?
I would like to say that the water is looking so much better in town, and I'm sure that is a relief to Rodney.
Yes.
I do want to throw out there that there's still a lot of people that are concerned about water, and we should maybe in January put together a workshop. Mr. Trigar has said he's willing to help us establish a panel that we can inform citizens but also do some brainstorming, because we know that there's infrastructure that needs to be replaced. We know that as we get more people in the community, we're going to need to expand the well capacity. So I would like to make that kind of the way we look at the beginning of the year. I think that's an important thing to follow through with.
Yes, ma'am. And we're also looking to put a Facebook. But because I just had an ethics and a sunshine law classes, we're going to figure out how we can do that, because we also would like to put our information on a Facebook. I want to put Rodney out there talking about the water and what we're doing. Would like to put myself out there talking about the septic system that we're putting in, or the sewer system that we're putting in to the south side of town, and what our plans are in the future. Because once we become self-sufficient with the sewer system, then you have more broad ideas that you can bring in. And there's a lot of things the city needs. Right. I mean, we've been suffering with mal-equipment and no buildings, and so, you know, there's a good 15 or 10-year plan that we can really present here one of these days.
Gloria?
I would just like to remind everybody that the tree lighting ceremony is this weekend on Friday night, the 17th, beginning at 5:30. And then also your Twilight Christmas Parade will be on the 9th of December at 6 o'clock. Just a reminder.
And to add to that, the fire trucks will be in front of the parade. And the commissioners then will be allowed to get on there with your grandkids or whatever, and then do the parade with. So
I want to drive.
I'm sorry.
Play with the siren. You just want to play with the siren.
Yeah, I know. I know. It will be the city takes a more aggressive stance with the parade, and we'll get it ready. There'll be numbers and lined up. The police then will direct people, and it was a little chaotic, to say the least. Last year, I know Gloria drove with me, and we just see people come and go, and this will be, there'll be a number, you have a number, and that's where you go.
Okay.
But right up front will be the fire. If you want to go in the parade, please feel free to go up there. They'll know that they're waiting for you.
Thank you.
So it's Saturday the 9th?
Yes.
Saturday, December 9th.
All right, Myron?
Couple things here. First one is Jenny, Angela, ladies in the office up there. Don't get them in the hallway because there's cameras in there. Wait till you get in the office. No witnesses. There you go.
I think I need a lawyer.
That's right. Second of all, a workshop or something, but we really need to start getting information out to people so they can know what's really going on in this city, because there's too many, I'm trying to be nice, rumors. Can I put it that way?
Yes.
Going out there that's not true. So we as a city need to let people know the actual facts, what's going on with our war and anything else going on in the city, instead of from this person and that person, because Scott can tell me something, and I can take it and turn around and tell the next person, and let's get all messed all up. So we really got to do that, start communicating with our people. And second of all, I want to say thank you to Nancy for having the courage to run, and I want to say welcome to the commissioner. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to shut up. The silent majority spoke loudly that they want a person, a reason, and not a bulldog to watch over the city. So again, we say thank you to the citizens of High Springs. That's why I love High Springs. That's why.
They spoke up all right.
Yes, it did. Linda?
I too want to welcome Nancy. I think she's going to be an excellent addition to the board. She has already vocalized herself tonight, and last year at this time I sat like a little mouse over there. You've done a great job already. But yes, and I look forward to the activities coming up, holiday activities we have coming up here in High Springs.
All right.
Just real quick, I didn't say anything initially when the selection was sort of made. I'm very honored. Let me just say that. I've been on the commission for 5.5 years. I haven't taken the mayor's role before, simply because of work restrictions, but I figured it was, you got to sort of man up and do it. And so we'll work my school board work with this. I'm very honored. I appreciate the faith in the other commissioners and the confidence they have in me. I can only tell the people, if you're watching out there, you may not agree every time with what I say, and I'm going to speak specifically to me. You may not agree, and I've said this every year when I've been on here, but you can be absolutely assured that whatever I do for the betterment of the city and with the best mind of the city as a whole, not individual groups. And so that's my pledge. I've tried to live by that for 5.5 years, and I will try to be even more diligent in this year when I'm sitting up here. I appreciate you all being here. We got work to do, and we're going to do it. And I appreciate you all's support. Do I have a motion to let's go home?
Makes a motion.
We're out of here.